guess we'll shout that nigga out on the next one. You dig? All right, man. Let's go ahead and get down. I think I'm gonna put this motherfucker. Fuck it. I don't want it over here. Let's see. So this motherfucker right here. Put this bitch right here. Hold on for a quick minute. Let me get this shit situated how I want it situated. Which I don't never like the way it's situated anyway. I don't know why. Like, look, since as soon as I put it here, you know what I'm saying, nigga, I can't see shit. I can't see myself or whatever. But all right, man, let's go ahead and get down. Man, have that killer instinct, man, that you're gonna get up and be about it every day. That's how you make a professional. You know what I mean? That's who a professional is. You know what I mean? A professional is a motherfucker to get out and get about it every motherfucking day. There ain't no motherfucking no questions about what they about to get up and do. Ain't no questions about where they about to get up and go. Like an opportunistic motherfucker is like, when the timing is right, I do this. When the timing is right, I do that. You know what I mean? You know, but a brother that's planning on being a live player, man, he gonna get up every day wanting to do what the fuck, you know, he started doing yesterday. Every day, man, you know what I mean? I had to put a halls in, man. You know what I mean? I feel I might be getting a cold or some shit. But every day, man, you know what I mean? If you meant to do this shit and you trying to make a difference in your market, whatever that market is, man, you know what I mean? You know, you go to sleep dreaming about that shit. You wake up and can't wait to do that shit. You know what I mean? Every day. That's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? You know, you wake up thinking, damn, you know, man, I could have did some more. You know what I mean? I could have did better. You know what I mean? When they asked the coaches, you know, on a Saturday, man, how the team did and this and that, coach always be like, well, there's a couple things that we didn't do. You know what I'm saying? We're going to work on that. We're going to get better. But it was a good win overall. By and all, you know, there ain't no bad win. You know, we won. You know what I mean? But there were some things that we could do better. You know what I mean? Top of it, you understand me? What up, dog? Yeah, man. So, that's a part of this game, man, that you have to put yourself, you know, under is the constant and consistent work. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in doing the constant and consistent part of this work, you know what I mean? You ain't gonna last in no business. And you know what I'm saying? In no industry, man. You know, even when I was, you know, wanting to, you know, become a real player, you know what I mean? What up, dog? You know what I'm saying? Props to you in Vegas. You did. What up, dog? Man, I appreciate it. It's just another joint that I had around, man. I ain't wore this motherfucker in a minute because I don't really like it, man. But I mean, you know, bright colors sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Bring it broad, you know what I mean? You know. So yeah, man, here, hold on. Let's get the suckers up out of here early, man. You know. But anyway, man, yeah, you know, yeah, man, some more and some more, you did, you know. But yeah, man, we gotta wake up wanting to, you know what I mean, wanting to handle our business every motherfucking day. You know what I mean? Every day we wake up, you know what I mean, handling it. You know what I mean? Hold on for a minute, man. You know, I don't know who these word niggas is that come on here. They come on here like immediately too. You know what I mean? The notification that I'm on the motherfucker before the niggas that's supposed to be on here get the notification. Apparently, man. You know. But anyway, man. Remember, man, you got to kill the competition in order for you to last, man. You know what I mean? You know, you can't let the competition outwork you, man. You know what I mean? You know, you gotta yeah, man, I don't know what's happening with these guys, man. You know what I mean? You know, the girls where they supposed to be away from me, Jack. You know what I mean? The fuck they ain't gonna get no money hanging next to me. You know what I mean? How the fuck they gonna get some money hanging next to me? You know what I'm saying? But if y'all watch enough of my shit, man, there's always bitches in the background and shit. You know what I mean? You know, I be hearing some guys talk about being about this ism, man, and can't call the bitch a bitch and all kind of shit, man. I mean, you know, that's some word friendly shit, you know what I mean? You know, yeah, man. I mean, that's not what we on. You know what I mean? You know, we like to kind of keep it real and raw. Our bras like us to keep it real and raw as well. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, I see guys that get on the motherfucker and they got like a friendship thing going. You know what I mean? You know, I appreciate it, Jack. I appreciate it. You know what I mean? But Yeah, man, get up and outwork the competition, man, because that's where your game starts. And if you don't know what your work is supposed to consist of, that's where you're doing the learning. You know what I mean? You know, you start doing the learning, man. You know what I mean? You know, what up in India? What up, down? All right, but you start doing the learning. You learn what you're supposed to do. These are the early steps. You know what I mean? You know, no, man, but I'll beat you up. You feel me? Like I'm not friendly like that. That's why they keep kicking me off, these motherfuckers, man. You know what I mean? I don't be having a page long, man. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I don't know how to, you know, just compartmentalize and ignore the suckers. You know what I'm saying? You know, you know, jump on and keep jumping on, and I feel bullied. I put a green light on you, and you get stumped the fuck out, and they complain and kick me off. That's why the page ain't monetized. You know what I'm saying? My son was asking me about it earlier. He was like, so, you know, they able to gift you when you on there or whatever. And I don't know what the fuck my son know about being gifted while you on the motherfucker. But I said, no, man, you know, I'm kind of demonetized because, you know, I handle business the way I handle business, man. But I'd rather be me than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we ain't giving a fuck about the monetization over the respect. Nigga, the respect is everything. Respect come first. You know what I mean? That's another difference between a player and a square. You know what I mean? A player think it's money, power, respect, like the song say, right? But it's really respect, power, then money. You know what I mean? The money come after the other shit. You know what I mean? You got to handle your business first. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big problem with a lot of us is that we want the money to come at the very beginning. You know what I mean? We just get started. We want the money to come. You know what I mean? Where the money at? Where the money at? You know what I mean? No, man, the money come after the work, homie. You know what I'm saying? The money come after the work, man. You know what I'm saying? If you put your work in, man, you know, the money gonna come. Just keep putting your work in. The money is a direct result of the value you putting out there, right? So if you ain't putting the value out there, man, if you ain't putting the value out there, you ain't gonna get the money. It ain't coming for you. You know what I'm saying? Because the money comes based on the amount of value you got out. If you want a lot of money, you got to put a whole lot of value out. You know what I'm saying? If you only, you know, want to get a little bit of money, okay, you know what I'm saying? That's why you got it when you put a little bit of value out. And the money trails the value, meaning you got to put in a lot of motherfucking work and a lot of value before the money come pouring in. So you gonna always feel like you putting in more work than you get money for. You know what I mean? Until, you know, it stack up. You got to compound your value. You know what I mean? When you putting it out there to the world, and it's in any market. You know what I mean? Not just in the writing or the speaking market or whatever. You know, it's in any market. You know what I mean? In sales, it's in anything. In music, you know what I mean? Like by the time we hear a motherfucker, man, you know what I mean? They done been putting out music for hella years. They got, you know what I mean, hundreds of songs. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even thousands of songs before we hear them. You know, so by the time they got that first hit, you know what I mean? They got, it's like they on the radio every motherfucking month with a new hit because they just got so much, you know, value that they got stored up. Same thing with me. A lot of times when y'all see me, you know what I mean? You know, y'all don't really know, man. I got 10,000 different products, bro. You know what I mean? You know, it's just, I mean, this is what I do. You know what I mean? You know, I put out, you know, shit. I'm steady putting, I was working on some new shit last night, you know. I don't know how you can find so many different subjects to talk on other than it being meant to be anyway, though. Here, hold on, I got to let the other page on. Y'all give me a quick minute. Let me get the other page some juice. Hey, if y'all got questions, man, throw them in, man, because I'm going to be on and off this morning, man. Meaning I'm going to get the fuck on, Jack. Here, hold on for a minute. Let me let this joint load up, man, and I'm going to get on. You dig? Yeah, man. You get, by the time that you handle your business, you know what I mean, you're going to have multiple residuals coming in, you know what I mean, because you're going to be been doing so much, you know what I mean, and you're going to be been doing it for so long, you know what I mean, and that's part of why why product is seen as superior to service. But I'm gonna take y'all behind the curtain though. Product ain't superior to service; they just different. You know what I mean? You know, service actually give you the lump sums faster than products do. You know what I mean? You know, a brother got to know you in order to look. That hate came in so hard that YouTube had to block it. That's crazy. I could be trying to help y'all niggas get $1 million, man, and it's gonna be some hate. It's always crazy, man, when you try to help your people. But a lot of times you got to keep in mind though, the people that's popping that shit, you know what I mean? They not your people. Like that guy that just said that that goofy shit. I mean, that, you know, that ain't one of my people. You know what I mean? You know, guys that assume that we all sell crack or something. That ain't one of my people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, our people move like us. Our people love what we doing. Your people, you don't have to work hella hard for your people to respect what you're doing. You know what I mean? You know, they see what you're doing, you know, automatically. And they like, damn, you know, I fuck with this dude. You know what I mean? He handling business. You know what I'm saying? Top up to the great and honorable Bosshogg Macaroni. What up, dog? What up, dog? Morning Star. You getting on this motherfucker a little late. You understand me? But, you know, better late than never. You dig? Man, I don't know what the fuck is going on with this phone, Jack. Hold on for a minute, man. Y'all give me a quick minute. This iPhone been giving me a problem all morning, man. I don't know what the fuck is going on with this motherfucker. They say building relationships is more important with service. No, you got to build a relationship even to buy a product, even to sell a product, right? Because the people got to know, like, and trust you to even, you know, want to buy a product from you. Now, the thing about the product, yeah, you was telling me that, man. I'm gonna have to look that shit up, man. You know what I mean? And I guess order it in. But no doubt. You say you got to get the grill iced out. You dig? How they like it? How they liking that the grill? How they liking the goatee, man? I'm already knowing the bras that don't like it ain't your bra. Don't even, you know what I'm saying? Don't even worry about them. If a bra wants you to pull out your gold teeth to fuck with her, you know what I'm saying? That ain't your bra. It's just like if a bra want me to pull off a mink coat or, you know what I'm saying, a fox coat or, you know what I mean, a chinchilla or something, you know what I mean? So it'll make her look, you know what I mean? You know, so it'll make her look less, I guess, so to get less eyes on it. That ain't my bitch. You know what I mean? If a bra won't, you know, if a bra start telling me how good I look without the chains, that ain't my bitch. You know what I mean? Your bra is gonna celebrate, you know what I mean, how you get down. You know what I mean? I said this the other day on the school app. Y'all niggas got to be on the school app, man, because y'all missing out like a motherfucker. I dropped some heavy game on there last night. In the middle of the night, too. A broad had said, damn, what the fuck was I was just thinking about last night, man, and then threw me the fuck off, man. But yeah, man, keep putting in your work, man, because, you know what I'm saying, the money catches up, you know what I mean, after the work. You know what I mean? He said, did he put the magic crystals in his grill? You know what I mean? Man, I don't know. But I mean, you know, man, y'all got to holler at each other. Y'all know each other, you dig? And Morning started then went and put the grill in. Man, that motherfucker look good too, man. You know what I'm saying? The grill look good, you dig? It look good. Made me think about, damn, I need to go, I need to go throw me one in, you know what I'm saying? But I got to put the VVS diamonds in it, you dig? You say you got the grills that block the bad spirits, you understand me? No doubt. I mean, it's a whole lot of bad spirits out here, man. So, you know what I mean? We definitely stay blocking the suckers, you know what I mean? Or we say duck the suckers, you know what I'm saying? You know. But you know, like I was saying, man, the relationship is a motherfucker. It's a must. You know what I mean? You know. that tell you the dude got a brand, man, when there's so many black people that get in the jury business and say that means dude got a heavy brand, you know what I mean? Which, you know, you got to get in and know that you can be bigger than that. You know what I mean? You got to get in and know, you know, that you're going to separate yourself from that, right? So for your thing, is, you know what I mean, got to be, you know, it you know, anyway, man, you know what I'm saying? But you're going to separate yourself, you know what I mean? No doubt. Haru, get at my brother No Flaw Benji, man, on the Instagram or something, man. You know what I mean? Give me your Instagram, bro. Y'all swap out Instagrams or something like that. That way y'all can block the suckers if they try to play on y'all phone or something like that, man. I remember I had to put a call trap on my phone, dude, because the people was playing on my phone so much a few years ago when I first got on YouTube or whatever. Man, as soon as I put that call trap on it, man, and it tell you exactly where the person at and all that kind of shit, man, shit, them motherfuckers stop playing on that phone, Jack. You know, dig that. Top of it, killer, you late, baby, you dig. Yeah, man, but No Flaw Benji, he just put it up, Jack. You know what I mean? So, you know, man, join him over there, man. Go get you a grill, you understand me? You know. All right, man, anyway, here, hold on for a minute. Yeah, but anyway, man, stay outworking everybody. You know what I mean? You know, you got to remember, man, you know, when you are, you know, meant to be a player, man, in any market, man, that means you're going to have to outwork the people that's there. You know what I'm saying? It's a fact. You're going to have to outwork them. You know what I mean? You know, so keep your mindset on, you know, outworking everybody, man, that's in the market. The motherfucker that put in the most work, the motherfucker that's giving the most value, man, he going to get paid the most anyway. You know what I mean? Not only eventually, but not only that, but he gonna last. You dig? Player life, what up, bro? You dig? But yeah, man, he gonna last. You know what I'm saying? The motherfucker that's, you know, just putting the work in, he gonna last, man. You know, the people that come in that barely want to put the work in, you know what I mean, don't really want to handle no business and all that, they ain't gonna last. They ain't gonna be here 5 years, 10 years from now. You know what I mean? Top of it, player life, you dig? But yeah, man, you know, shout out to motherfucking Colorado to handle their motherfucking business yesterday. They slowed down in that second half, man, but they handled their business. Them motherfuckers look good on the field, man. They be handling business, Jack. You know what I mean? So shout out to that brother. I guess I need to buy buy all the grills so I can get back in Bosshogg School. You know, he always hustling, Jack. He got an angle for everything, man. You know what I mean? But I tell you what, though, he was doing good in the school, though. He was looking good, man. You know what I mean? You know, he was putting it together. You know what I mean? I think he was about to bump some nigga that had a Billy over there. You know what I mean? You know, he was moving and grooving. You know what I mean? You know, you got to jump back in, man, to tap back in with the rest of us. Matter of fact, I put something on my school app about accountability yesterday. You know what I mean? Is that you got to have brothers that, you know what I mean, that you are accountable to, and brothers that's accountable to you. It's like having a gym partner or a get rich partner. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that ain't gonna let you, you know what I'm saying, be a sucker. You know what I'm saying? Take off on the weekend. Somebody that ain't gonna let you leave early and shit every day like you want to do. Or you know what I'm saying? You get high. You know what I mean? You gotta pay a penalty or whatever, man. You know, you gotta have that seriousness around you, man. Because when you put it around you, it helps you stay focused long enough to get rich. So many people don't get rich because they ain't got that focus to get rich. You know what I mean? You know, damn, that you put rights on your name, bro. I didn't know that you did that, man. I didn't notice it. I can't even see the screen, bro, when I'm on this motherfucker, man. Hold on. Okay, that ain't nothing I'm about to get off and handle right now. But yeah, that you know, I didn't notice that you had it on there. You said he lost that chick. You know what I mean? I'm still sweating her. She ran back to Memphis, man. You were supposed to be right, you know what I'm saying, right in Memphis, right for, hey, baby, you know what I'm saying? You know, I had to come here, make sure you was all right. Now get in my motherfucking car, man. You know what I mean? You know, you're supposed to, you know, be there, Johnny on the spot, be smooth with it. You know what I mean? You know, that's a part of it. He said, I was watching one of the boss players this morning. He said it wasn't about the money. It's about being accountable to the brothers. Okay, yeah, man. Rosebud's the first guy that taught me that, man. That it ain't about the money, man. You know, the money is what he used to say, man. The money is a fringe benefit of this ism, man. It's, you know, it's something that comes with, you know, it's a result of when you've been doing good work. You know what I mean? And you've been doing it long enough. This is your blessing. This is your payoff. This is, you know what I mean? 1 + 1 gotta equal 2. Okay. Sometimes it take a while for it to equal that 2 million or that 200,000 or that 2,000. Sometimes it can take a while to feel like, you know what I mean? You always, like I said, man, the money lags behind the work. You know what I mean? The money lags behind the work. You know what I mean? So, you know, definitely, man, you know, put in the work. And when you talk about being accountable to your brothers, man, I mean, you know, that's the only way to live. You know what I mean? If I didn't have Jimmy that I had to be accountable to in person, I wouldn't be the nigga I am today. You know what I mean? Because, you know, he was leaning on me on a regular basis. You know what I mean? It wasn't sometimes that he was leaning on me. It was, you know, it was often. You know what I mean? You know, matter of fact, Rosebud leaned on me before that. You know what I mean? So, you know, without Rosebud and Jimmy, like I say, man, I wouldn't be me. You know what I mean? Because they was leaning on me on a regular basis, man. You know what I mean? They force you to live at the standard. You know what I'm saying? So when you are talking about being accountable to your partners, your partners got a certain standard. You know what I mean? And that's what you living at. You know, you gotta keep that in mind. That if you ain't living at that standard, you slipping. You making us look bad. You dig? My favorite scene is someone sweating abroad on a boat. Okay, I know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Yeah. You talking about she had the LeBron with her and everything. Yeah. You know. And that happens, you know what I mean? That happens, you know what I mean? He spotted something that let him know he need to get down. Not only that, but he spotted something that let him know he need to get down like that, you know what I mean? So, there's levels to it, you know what I mean? There's levels to it, man, you know what I mean? He said when you getting leaned on to make you tighten up more. Yeah. And you also got to know the brothers that you know what I mean, that you getting leaned on by, you know what I mean? I think that's also a square trait. You know what I mean? When suckers try to roast somebody they ain't met or something like, something I don't know, like nigga, you gonna get beat up. Nigga, you a stranger. You know what I mean? But one of my homies say that same thing to me. I know he didn't mean it with no malice. I ain't tripping. You know what I mean? We laugh and I tighten my game up. You know what I mean? Or he tightened his game up. I mean, that's the way it go. You know? And he said, hold on. The lean from your mentor is the hardest to live up to. Yeah, for sure. You ain't lying. You know, he said, if you get into school, you know what I'm saying, you'll never get that experience. Yeah. If you never get into school, man, you don't know what the lean is, man. And McAfee, what up, though? You dig? I seen y'all eked out a win yesterday. I thought y'all would have been able to do better, but shit, y'all did better than we've been doing this year. You know what I mean? Hey man, if y'all don't know, man, when bro, you got to get your profile pick up, fam. If y'all don't know, man, let me say this. When Michigan and Michigan State is playing, all of us Michigan fans cheer for Michigan State because we from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? Michigan State is closer to Detroit. It's just, we Michigan fans versus everybody else. But I mean, when Michigan play Michigan State, naturally we want Michigan State to win because nigga, that's home team. You know what I mean? Much love from Clarksville, Tennessee. What up, dog? Man, I caught a broad out of Clarksville, man. Found a little white broad, man. You know what I mean? Fucking around over in that joint. You know what I mean? Here, hold on. Yeah, nigga. I mean, you know what? The thing about a nigga's voice, man, is you know what I mean? When you really got a broad, she love that shit. You know what I mean? So you ain't gotta worry about that. You know what I mean, sucker? You know what I mean? Because my voice is famous. Bitches hear it, and you know what I mean. My bitch was just telling me yesterday, man. You know what I mean? My tall black bro was like, I just got that feeling as soon as I heard you again. You know what I mean? Dig that, man. You know what I mean? He said, caught some more of it on your way back to town. No doubt. When most people get leaned on, they break. Yeah. Most guys they're not trying to be leaned on. They want to be friendly. And this is a competitive sport, man. Meaning if you got a buster that's hanging around you, nigga, guess what? You're going to be a buster too. Because y'all ain't living at a standard. Y'all just, going with the flow. Leaders don't go with the flow. Leaders create the flow. Okay? Leaders, we are motherfuckers that set the trend. You know what I mean? That's why we are called leaders, because we're at the head of something. You know what I mean? And before you can be a leader, you got to be the best follower. Nigga, I followed Rosebud and Jimmy for years to, you know what I mean, to figure my game out. Ain't nothing wrong with if you know what I'm saying, are sharp enough to find somebody, you know what I'm saying, that's dope to follow, nigga. Because, if them motherfuckers care about you, it was like what happened with me and Jimmy. When people care about you, nigga, they gonna make sure that you live by the code, that you get there. You know what I mean? Leadership ain't about, dogging the other nigga or breaking him down or whatever. That ain't, that's some sucker shit. But that's also when you see brothers doing that, they ain't meant to be leaders. You know what I mean? They are different. You know what I mean? I was hearing Jordan talk about that in an interview. You know what I mean? They was like, man, why don't you coach? He said, I don't really, I can't coach. He said, because I don't see these brothers, you know what I mean, giving it all to the game like I used to give it all to the game. He said, their focus is not where my focus was, and if their focus ain't where my focus is at, I don't want you around me. And I'm kind of similar. You know what I mean? A lot of times you don't know where a guy's focus is at until they get, say, in the Patreon or the school app or whatever. You know what I mean? The fuck are you talking about, bro? So a lot of times we don't that shit threw me off that quick. that's why I hate trying to figure some shit out. It's always niggas you don't know that you got to figure shit out with. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if it was a nigga that I know, it would be like, okay, we figuring this shit out together. You know what I mean? But strangers come in and say some shit, and you be thinking about, like, the fuck did they mean? Where were they coming from? You know what I mean? And it take too much brain power, nigga, so you got to block everybody out. But anyway, man, Jimmy used to lean on me, and it was a hard lean too. You know what I mean? You know, it was a hard lean because you know, he wanted me to do better, to have more. You know what I mean? Rosebud leaned on me, you know what I'm saying, over the phone the same way. You know what I mean? He wanted me to do better and have more. Matter of fact, I remember Rosebud leaned on me after a knock. I knocked this guy for a bitch. And Rosebud leaned on me. He was pissed at me too. He was like, man, you risking too much. He said, man, you risking your whole life. You risking everything, man. You know, we don't do that. Nigga, them niggas is, they telling you all that shit is cool. Nigga, you gonna end up getting murdered. And, you know, I knew that he cared about my well-being. And, you know, because sometimes we get down in a raw fashion on other niggas, man. And it could go bad. He wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? I wouldn't take the knockback, but he wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? You know, it can get out of hand. You know what I mean? And people, and if you talking about a street thing, people do kill each other on a regular basis, man. You know what I mean? Life is pretty cheap when you black in the streets. Life is pretty cheap, man. It should be worth a bit more, but you know. I think, man, that's another thing too, that you got to stay away from niggas that's at the bottom, because they don't got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? You know, they ain't got a whole bunch to throw away if they go and lean on you and let a few shots off. Nigga, it ain't, you know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing. What Jay-Z say, man, if I shoot you, then I'm brainless. But if you shoot me, then you famous. What's a nigga to do? And you got to keep the suckers up off you too. You know what I mean? That's something I was telling somebody about the other day. You know what I mean? We was talking about, you know what I mean? You know, still riding with the heater after you rich. It's like, oh man, you know, I ain't really got to. But I was like, cuz everybody in my group, you know, we still got to, nigga, because you just never know. You got to be safe. You got to be out the way. You know, can you imagine that? This is why I be telling y'all brothers, man, you know what I mean? Do it legitimately, and don't get in the streets to take that loss to whatever, you know. Can you imagine, man? Hold on, man. My daughter getting up asking me something early in the fucking morning, Jack. You know, hold on for a minute, man. She might take her friend home. She had a friend spend the night or whatever, you know. I'm on the camera. What do you need? What do you want? You want me to, what, you dropped her off? Oh, you got to drop her off? Or, oh, they going to pick her up from here? Yeah, you can go with her. I mean, I'm going to have to come get you. All right. Put on some other shorts, man. Yeah, man, be in dad mode and shit, man. Anyway, man, and that's another thing too, man. I don't hang out with niggas that ain't, you know, parenting the kids that they got, man. You know what I mean? That's a bad trait. You know what I mean? A nigga that ain't parenting the kids that he got, he probably ain't gonna follow through on the business that y'all set up to do. Nigga probably ain't gonna live by the code and be disciplined enough, you know what I mean, to stick to it enough to get rich, man. Not only that, man, but if you ain't, you know, feed that next generation, man, you know what I mean? You know, you kind of jiving, you know what I mean? Does that sound like you and your daughter? Hey, it's similar. It's the same, ain't it? You know what I mean? Like, you know, we players, man, but shit, we got to get in dad mode real quick. You know what I mean? You know, put some bigger clothes on. What the fuck is going on? You know, you gotta, you know, make sure they don't hurt my youngest son, you know, feelings and shit. You know what I mean? I gotta, you know, make sure ain't nobody fighting and shit. You know what I mean? Then I go over to my other houses, man. You know what I mean? With my fine ass nurse and my 3 kids over there, I gotta do the same thing. I gotta stay in mode. You know what I mean? You know, parenting is a big part of this shit, man. You know. Man, come on. You know, and it's weird, man, when nigga be, you know, putting up another nigga's name and then say some whack shit like you that other guy. Like that's weird, man. You know what I mean? You know, nigga, you gotta get serious about your life, man, because that shit'll get you murdered, man. You know, acting like you somebody else and then saying, you know, like shit to make that guy sound goofy or something. Like you bugging right now. You know what I mean? You out of line, nigga. P Ski Hover, what up, dog? You dig? Yeah, man, this ain't nothing, man. A little piece of nothing. Yeah, I mean, you know, my mean co-store got a bunch of these type of joints. Exactly. Can't come outside half dressed and shit. You know what I mean? I don't play about that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, It's about being professional, man. And you got to remember, when they growing up, they friends ain't professional yet. They ain't around other players. I have to tell my kids that you come from a family of players where, you know what I'm saying, the look matters. Not, but, you know, what you think and say matter. The content and context of your conversation matters. You know, so it's a thing, man, because, you know, they're around all the squares. The squares are on they football teams with them, the cheerleading teams and all that. You know what I mean? They come out of square families. You know, mom is a regular working stiff, dad is a regular, you know, regular Joe. And they may not even like, you know, the player shit. You know what I mean? Like, they might not like the Maseratis and Porsches in my yard and shit. You know what I mean? And you got to remember, your kids are going to deal with that as well. You know what I mean? You know, the same way that busters get on here with, you know, no profile pic and shit, so I don't track them down. That's fast, but, you know, they do get tracked down if they keep hassling me. But the same way that hate come on here, it's the same way at the school. You know what I mean? Like, all my sons got chains and shit, man. You know what I mean? But some little kids told my son his chain was fake. It's 14 karat, Jack. You know what I mean? But, you know, he don't know nothing about, you know, about that kind of shit. He just wear a chain. His older brother got a chain. Sister got a chain. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know, man. It's a weird ass world, man. That's why we don't try to fit into the world. You know what I mean? You know, we make the world do an about face and turn around and fit in with us. You know what I mean? You know. What up, man? You dig? What up, though? But yeah, man, you know, the thing is, man, to keep pushing. You know what I mean? Because remember, we got a standard. You know, we got a standard that we got set for our kids. We got a standard that we got set for our homies. We got a standard. Everybody has a standard. You know what I mean? And if everybody got that motherfucking standard, you know, everybody gonna be eating. We're gonna be, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna be living good together. But we gotta have a standard, you know? And that standard radiates throughout your whole life. That standard goes through, you know what I'm saying, everybody in your life, man. You know what I mean? They know about that standard. My bras know about the standard. My bras is wearing gold and shit every day. You know, my bras got fur coats and shit. My bras got Benzes and shit. You know, my bras got houses and shit. It's a standard. You know what I mean? I remember telling some bitch, you know, man, bitch, you know, you can't really be living in this hotel, you know, fucking with me. Even if it's a decent room, bitch, I can't be coming in and out of a hotel every day. You know what I mean? When I was young, you know what I mean? I might have did that, bitch, because we was on the road. You know what I mean? We in California, New York, or wherever the fuck we at. You know what I mean? We do it how we got to do it until we buy a house and say, okay, we're going to stay here for a little while. You know what I mean? You know, but, man, they can't be coming in and out of a motherfucking, you know, hotel and shit, man. You know, when we got shit to lose, we got, you know, kids and some old shit. You know what I mean? Police watching the hotel, robbers watching the hotel, little crack selling niggas in the parking lot, or, you know what I mean? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You never know what you walking into. You know what I mean? You ain't got no time for that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? We got time to keep on eating, man. You know what I'm saying? That shit stops us from eating, being around squares, talking to squares. You know what I mean? Even the squares in our family, man, that shit will end up catching up and biting us in the ass, man. You know what I mean? Because you want them to accept all the extravagancies that you done gifted yourself in life, and they thinking that you shouldn't have that. You know what I mean? They thinking you don't need that. They thinking, you know what I mean, you trying too hard. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do all that, man. You know what I'm saying? People fuck with you as it's just whatever they thinking, man. Squares think square thoughts, man. You know what I mean? That shit can only be a distraction to a player. You know what I mean? And you got to be smart enough to not let that shit distract you from who you supposed to be. You know what I mean? You know, because you are growing and evolving into something, okay? You evolving into something every single day that you work at it. You know what I mean? Every single hour that you read about it, that you obsess about it, that you look at the details. I always tell brothers, you ain't reading if you ain't taking notes. You ain't listening to these classes good if you ain't taking notes. You know what I mean? The notes let you know what to do, what not to do. Okay? Your notes is going to be more important than any book that I got. You know what I mean? Yeah, squares think square thoughts, no doubt. Your notes are gonna be more important than my book, because it's what you pulled out of it. And if you read it, you know what I mean, some years later or some months later or whatever, when you're in a different mind frame, you're gonna pull different stuff out of it that you didn't catch 3 years ago when you read it, or 10 years ago when you read it. You know what I mean? You know, so the game don't stop. The game don't stop, man. You know what I mean? You know. Yeah, man. Man, y'all didn't block this nigga out of here. What's going on now? What is the situation with this? You know, y'all taking y'all time. You understand me to block a motherfucker saying something goofy like that. You know what I mean? But get up every day, man, with a purpose, man. You know what I mean? Get to moving and handling your business, man, with a purpose. You know what I mean? You got a purpose. You're supposed to, you know what I mean, give something to the world, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Steph Curry gave us this beautiful jumper that he got. That's, I mean, you know what I mean? You tell I'm a big Steph Curry fan. You know what I mean? You know, he gave us this jumper. LeBron gave us, you know what I mean, the most points scored and shit. You know what I mean? He keep adding to it every game. You know what I mean? You know, everybody is supposed to give something, and it ain't the same thing as everybody else. So don't be copying this nigga or copying that nigga. No, your game is gonna be different than he is. That's a fact. It's gonna be different. You know what I mean? Whatever you are supposed to do, it's already written, bro. It's just whether you're gonna get off your ass and do it. You know what I'm saying? But whatever you meant to do, whatever you meant to give to the world, it's already written. You know, it's funny, man. I got so many courses out, and I can tell you, man. Back when I was 14, that was the only thing I wanted to do. You know, to be a writer. So it ain't no shock that I got so many courses, man, and I dropped so much shit. And within a year, I'm dropping 12 courses or some shit. Bro, that ain't no shock. You know what I mean? You know, because that's what I was focused on, man. I'm reading this Donald Goins iceberg slam. I said, oh man, shit, I gotta be like that one day. Now my writing still to this day, 26 years later, it ain't like that. You know, Macology, you got to get your profile pick up, baby. I see the pick, man, but you got to, you know what I mean? You got to have I guess maybe I can't see good. You know what I mean? You got a motherfucking face pick in there. You did. My fault. That's on me. Shit, I'm slipping. Man, you know, this should be like this small when you be looking at the screen and shit, so you don't know. You know what I mean? But, man, yeah, man, make sure that you ride with who you are, man. Keep a profile pick up. Bro, can't even like you and choose you. You dig? No doubt. I see you, you know what I mean, OG. I see you, you know what I'm saying? I got a real pick too, you know what I mean? So props to you, Jack. Man, we can't become who we need to be if our pick ain't right there associated with our name. That, you know what I mean? It's our brand. That's the first step in the brand process. You know what I mean? You know, yeah, man, join us on the school app, man, or that Patreon thing, man. I've been killing that shit, man. Lately, I put about 3 joints on the Patreon yesterday morning. You did, for sure, man. You know what I mean? No doubt, man. I appreciate you being here with the good energy. You did, you know. So yeah, man, we keep on putting it down. And I'm gonna tell you, if we keep putting it down in a certain fashion with a certain standard set, and we don't fall below that standard, that's where we start changing things slowly but surely, man. You know what I mean? You know, we change it, man. Like I say, man, I want all y'all niggas to be millionaires, man. You know what I mean? All of y'all. I want all y'all to be millionaires, man. You know what I mean? Ain't no reason in doing it, man, if you're not going to, you know what I mean, play for the top. You know what I mean? I want all y'all to be millionaires, man, handle y'all business, man. You know what I mean? That's why I be giving it up. You know what I mean? Like I do. Oh, man, come on, man. Let's work on this now. Okay, let's work on that. Now, it is what they say. I run a stringent program, my brother in Philly say. You know what I mean? I run a stringent program, you know what I mean? Because I don't stop working. So when I'm giving y'all the game, I'm giving y'all, you know, so much game every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect y'all to stop working, but that's just the way that I know to get to the top. If you busy working, you ain't got time for, jail and prison. And you know what I mean? If you busy working, you ain't got time for the lame suckers trying to argue or fight about this or that. You ain't got time for the bum bitches that's trying to get over on you. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got time for none of that. You know what I mean? Like you outlast all that. You know what I mean? You know. Like, you're gonna ask me, what can I not say? Out of here. Anyway, but yeah, man. Keep putting in the work, man. Y'all ain't got no questions, but I'm gonna jump off this motherfucker anyway, man. You know, y'all niggas didn't score the points. I think the brother that got the profile pick right here, and Player Life got some of the only points. No, Morningstar give you 2 points for that. You know what I mean? For recognizing that squares got square thought. You know what I mean? And you got to stay away from it, because that shit keep you broke. It keep you regular. You know what I mean? Being around regular people, you know what I mean, it's contagious, man. It rub off on you, become regular. You know what I mean? And it happened to me just like it happened to everybody else. You got to remind yourself, you know what I mean, that ye are gods, and then, you know, go out and move like that. You know what I mean? Not just talk like that, but actually have the walk behind the talk. You know what I mean? Actually have the growth behind what it is that you're talking about. You know, don't be talking at bitches with big old dreams and you don't get out and live those dreams, you know what I'm saying, while you're doing it. You know what I mean? How do you keep your energy after 2 days of grinding? Slow down. Man, shit, I mean, you gotta keep in mind what it is that you want. You know what I mean? I mean, if you want something, you know, serious and something big, if you want to change something, you want to give something to the world, I mean, it ain't gonna be changed in, you know, in 1 day, 2 days. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be changed in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you gotta stay putting in the work. Like, this class is distinctly different than every other class out there. You know what I mean? It's because this is what I see as a man, as a player. You know what I mean? As a motherfucker that's deserving of having bras, multiple bras. I think that's deserving of leadership and all that. So I teach it in that way. You know what I mean? It's gonna take a while before everybody, you know what I mean, get hip. Or some people ain't going. This ain't supposed to be the fraternity they learn from. That's why they, you know, kind of jump around from different people pages and shit, because they trying to find the spot where they belong. And it took me a minute, you know what I mean? Like, I was in the game, like I say, probably about 10 years before I went out there to fuck with Jimmy. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I mean, you know, it takes work, man, consistent work, and you can't give up at it. You say, with the kids, I'm beginning to have to wake up at 3 a.m., you know what I mean, before they are up, you know what I'm saying, before I head to work. Yeah. That's a part of it too. You know what I mean? I remember being in a mentorship. It was like a sales mentorship some years ago. And the guy was like, you're going to have to, you know, perfect your sales scripts and shit, you know, like, I get up. And I remember thinking that my kids were young, like your kids are today. And I was like, don't get up that early. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's a game. I mean, ain't nobody tell us to have kids. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, they told us that it's gonna be harder once we have them. So, you know, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? And you know, and you got a boy and a girl, right? You know what I'm saying? When you got a boy and a girl, you know what I'm saying, the best of both worlds, man. You know, we really can't complain. You know what I mean? We got to just put the work in, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, I be feeling like this parenting shit can be drowning me sometimes. Like, it's just that, you know, we got to outwork that shit. You know what I mean? We got to find some time for ourselves. Because sometimes, man, I'm going from this game to this person game to that person game to that person game. Man, all my kids got games. My daughter got work and shit now, you know what I mean? Because I'm trying to press her. Sports ain't gonna help her at this stage. She getting at that age where she gotta be working. She gotta learn how money is made. You know what I mean? So when money is made, you know, hold on, let me get this guy out of here. When she learning how money is made, man, that's gonna keep her from being played. You know what I mean? Throughout life, like she, you know, like she a broke fine chick. You know what I mean? You know. Here, hold on for a minute. How do you deal with chicks that come off one and shit? Hold on, I'm gonna have to put this shit up here. Hold on. Let me scoot this joint over here now. All right, y'all got to get y'all some questions up, baby. You know what I mean? Tighten up. Ask some questions, because we're gonna have to get out of here in a minute. How you deal with chicks that come off wanting you to compromise and slide in, sneaky in the conversation? Man, listen. I think, what is it, Killer? What did I used to say? John 10:1 and 10:2. You know what I mean? Anybody that come into your household anyway other than the front door is a thief and a robber, right? So if the bitch is on something that you ain't on and she keep trying to sneak it in, that's what, you know what I'm saying? She keep trying to be creeping and shit. She a creep. You can't trust that motherfucker as somebody, you know, legitimate. She a creep. So you call her out, you know what I mean? And y'all, you know, strip that problem butt naked. Y'all get to it right then. I call it out, and then and I back up off of it. You know what I mean? And you know, she either come back around, coming correct, or that ain't your broad. The worst thing you could do, man, is go through a whole lot to make it work with a broad that ain't your broad, because you're gonna keep going through that whole lot the rest of y'all career. You ain't got no. Some guys are cursed with a broad. You know, we think that we blessed because the broad give you some money or whatever. Broad might give you $1,000, but give you $8,000 worth of problems. She might, you know what I'm saying, she give you 100,000, but you got $1 million case if she fuck up out, you know what I'm saying, out and about. So a lot of times we be cursed with broads that's trying to come in some faulty fashion, that's trying to come in shimmying up the drain pipe, or you know what I mean, bitch to try to break in the basement window or try to come in the back door or the side door. Make sure every bitch come in the front door, man. You know what I mean? That's your standard. You know what I mean? You can't play it no other way. You know what I mean? If a bitch wants something else, then she wants somebody else. Dig that. All right. Say loving every minute of it, but you know what I'm saying? Being a real dad is tiresome. Yeah, man. And man, I ain't gonna bullshit you, man. It's irritating too, man. It ain't something I just wanted to do. You know what I mean? But I love them motherfuckers, man. I love all of them, man. But they think they more important than everything that we doing. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's tiring. It is tiresome, man. You know what I mean? But it's our job, man. You know what I mean? It's like me getting on here and not kicking it 100 with y'all. You know, if I get on here and just talk about, you know, the flash shit about having a bitch and all that, and don't talk about, you know, the process after that. If I don't talk about the parent, I don't talk about staying away from the drug use. If I don't talk about, you know, keeping your game legit and all that, then I wouldn't be keeping it real with y'all. It's an integrity thing when we are parents. It's an integrity thing. Just like what I say on here, it's an integrity thing. I gotta say shit that I believe in. You know what I mean? It ain't about, you know what I mean, what everybody else is on. If that ain't what they own, then they'll find another motherfucking channel. You dig? Is that to this day I never came in through any door, you know what I'm saying, but the front door. You dig? All right. I say that verse almost every day. Got to be straightforward. No doubt. You dig? No doubt. All right. Let's see. What else, man? I don't think it's nothing else I missed, man. But yeah, man. You know, a broad is gonna follow your lead, man. So if you let her come in jiving, then you know she know you a jive ass motherfucker. You feel me? You know, if you let her come in conning, then she know you susceptible to the con, and she'll never stop conning. If you let her come in lying, she gonna keep on lying. You know what I mean? You gotta remember, man. Nobody used to say this all the time, that a broad come with a pussy and a lie. That's just part of it. And some of them gonna lie more than others. You know what I'm gonna tell you is this here. It's still some real good bras out there. I mean, I got some good bitches right now, man. I really can't hate it, man. You know what I'm saying? They you know what I mean? They make my job easier, man. You know what I mean? You know, and I'm thankful for them motherfuckers. Yes, to me, I love them motherfuckers. I love the way they loving me. You understand me? But you know, you gotta be worthy of that kind of love, that kind of respect. You understand me? You know, like that shit ain't just given to everybody. That's why a lot of guys got bitches that, you know, we don't want to have, we wouldn't have. They going through things that we don't want to go through, things that we wouldn't go through. You know, this a man's game. You know what I mean? It's not made for the motherfuckers that's gonna cut corners, because the motherfuckers that's gonna cut corners, you understand me? Hold on for a minute. The fuck is she coming out looking for me for? The fuck is that? No, the hoe came out here, fed the dog. She didn't feed him no dog food. I don't know what the fuck she threw out there. You know, with my pit eating it up. My other dog must have got a piece of something too, because he took his off the porch. That's how he do. He don't have to share everything. That's what being a parent is like, man. But you know what I'm saying? My other dog is some fucking, I don't know what the fuck kind of dog this is. You know, these dogs just roam up on your land when you got, you know, a lot of acreage. You know. Yeah, man. You know what I mean? We set the standard, and everybody follow the standard that we set. You know what I mean? And if a broad standard, you got to keep it moving. You know, because that ain't your broad. You're not meant to be arguing with a broad every day, man. You know what I mean? If you arguing with this broad every day, you don't got no energy and respect and confidence to go out and go compete with the white man and go give. You know what I mean? You know, you can't do none of that because this bitch got you tired. You know what I mean? You worried about Halloween and costumes and parties and, you know what I mean, that kind of shit. Bitch, later for that. I got the work comes first. All right. What do you think about bras with excuses and no accountability? A lot of times they've been raised in a way that they didn't have to be accountable to nobody. So you got to give them that accountability. You got to cut out the excuses. You know what I mean? Do I, had that fussing part, to get them out of that? No, I mentioned, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, you know what I mean? I mentioned it, and that's that. I just will stop answering the phone for them. You know what I mean? I don't do no arguing, bro. If I ain't feeling you, we'll talk less and less. You won't ever see me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't do all that, man. You know what I mean? So that's how I handle it, man. Some niggas be like, no, it's a good broad. I got to straighten her out. Man, I ain't got to do a motherfucking thing, Jack. You know what I mean? If I like a bitch, man, I'm going to keep on dropping little seeds of who I am into her. And if she like me, she gonna water them motherfucking plants and she gonna grow the garden her motherfucking self. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna fight that motherfucking seed to grow. You know, the fucking God, you're not blessing this seed, or you know what I mean? I need some more water, I need some more sunlight. No, man, this shit gonna naturally happen, man, if that's what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? If she's supposed to be yours and y'all supposed to be having this long-term thing, then shit, it is what it is. What's a good way to improve your money skills? Study money, and then go out and do what you study. You know what I mean? You can't just study, because studying by itself don't make you rich. But you got to learn what you studied. And remember, you don't got to learn everything. All you need is a small handful of tricks. That's it. Not a handful of tricks like motherfuckers that pay a bitch for pussy. I mean, a handful of secrets, a handful of tips, a handful of techniques. That's it. You don't need, you know, a whole lot. You know what I mean? To get better at getting money. Now, managing money is something different. That's even simpler, but you got to force yourself on it. You know what I mean? You know, you take 10% and put in that S&P 500 in your stock market. That's, you know what I mean? You always gonna have some money. You take some, you know what I mean? You constantly be building up. Look at this pit of man. She's trying to stare me down so I can get out of feed her. She got me fucked up. But she's staring without blinking too. Like when you gonna feed me? Nigga, it's past the time. You dig? But anyway, man. Yeah, man. As far as, you know, money management, you know what I mean? You just take a piece of it out. You got to segment your money, and you got to know that every bit of money has a purpose to it. You know what I mean? Every $100 can grow into $1,000. It's like planting a seed. It's like planting a tree. You know what I mean? Every $100 can grow into 1,000 if you let it. Every 1,000 can grow into 10,000 if you let it. Every 10,000 grow into 100,000 if you let it. Now, is it gonna be easy for 1,000 to grow into 10,000? No. Is it easy for 100 to grow into 1,000? No. You know what I'm saying? It's 10x, baby. You know, that shit gonna take a minute. But if you don't ever put it up, it never will grow. Okay, it's like, you know, raising our kids. If that kid don't have a father, they never will grow into whatever it is you want them to grow into, because nigga, you didn't put in the work. So, you know, that's what it's like to grow your money. It's the same thing, same principle. It's the same thing to grow your game also. You know what I mean? You know, you start with one part and you just keep on working it, keep on working it, keep on working it. Most people try to learn the whole game, and this is why they don't get nowhere. Okay, you got to perfect one part. You know what I mean? You know, same thing with money. Don't try to perfect it. Don't try to master the stock market, the real estate market, oil funds, you know, gold, silver, platinum. You know what I mean? You know, don't try to master every market. You know what I mean? You just, you know, one of them is going to speak to you. You try all of them and you're going to say, oh, shit, I did good with that one. For example, like cars, man. I've been having this feeling, you know what I mean, for like, you know, 20 some years, because my first business was a car business, right? But I can't fix a car, can't paint a car, can't do nothing. I started a car lot a couple of years ago, and man, that shit gave me hell, man. You know what I mean? I lost a couple $100,000 with that shit, man. But as soon as I got in the jewelry business and the mean coat business, it instantly started popping. I mean, that's the difference. That's how you notice what you're supposed to be doing versus what you want to be doing. You know, same thing with real estate, man. I've been doing real estate off and on for 20 some years. I mean, but it ain't never popped immediately like the jewelry and the mean coats and shit. That's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, am I still supposed to put out the courses and all that? Yeah, or even for my publishing company, right? The difference between me putting out courses and putting out books. You know, I can't sell a book to save my life probably, you know what I mean? But my courses be selling every day, you know what I mean? Courses, I get a lot more time to teach. Courses are for some self-help shit, for some personal development shit. You know what I mean? Like, I can't write a book like Iceberg's Pimp. You know what I mean? I just feel crazy when I'm writing about my crimes. I feel crazy. So, you know, it just never come out good. I mean, I could tell the story in my courses, in my seminars and shit, but you know, as far as, you know, me telling it to strangers, not like I even get paranoid when a motherfucker get on here without a profile pic. You know what I mean? You know, just being a street cat, you know, you just go through that. You like, oh, hold up, and maybe I ain't supposed to be talking about this. So I edit everything in my head before it come out. So if y'all see I'm speaking fast, think about it, nigga. I'm thinking a whole lot faster because I'm trying to not say nothing from my past that's gonna give me more drama or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, you got to work on a good life, and then you got to keep that good life. You know what I mean? So don't let social media misuse y'all. Y'all end up getting cases based on this shit. It ain't that important, nigga. You know what I mean? Social media ain't ain't that special, nigga. You and your broad could live well without it completely. What else, man? I gotta get ready to hit the traffic, man. So if ain't no questions, man, I gotta get the fuck on. But I tell you, just as a bonus, man, I tell you the first money skill the first money management skill that I learned from a seminar was, man, 20 some years ago. And I thank God for this shit, man, because I bought it on a humble too. Like most of the important things in your life, you're gonna buy it on a humble. It ain't even gonna be nothing that you gave a lot of thought to or whatever, which I do like my law of attraction courses and all that shit, wealth attraction courses and all that. I think that's cool too. But anyway, this guy had a money management course, and he said, 30% go to the savings, 30% go to the investing, 30% go to the bills, 10% go to your giving account. Okay. And sometimes with guys like me and Poor Stoney and all of us, 70% be going to the shopping, or 70% go to the investments, because we are trying to get somewhere a bit faster. But you got to pay the bills, or you won't have no house, you won't have no cars and shit. You know what I mean? So the bills got to be paid. But I mean, is that more important? Some people bills be 100% of their money. And it's kind of like, damn, you got to do some restructuring. You got to make more, you got to spend less. You know what I mean? That's another piece of the game of money management, man, is, make more than you spend, and have more than you owe. Okay. So position yourself with things, you know what I mean? Man, I don't even want to speak on that, man. You know what I mean? All I can say, man, is, shout out to that brother, you know what I mean, that moved like a man. You feel me? I don't even want to speak on that, man. So, delete that comment, Jack, because I don't want that to even be associated with your name, man. You know what I mean? With black men having cases, man, it's like what they think their job is to come and take away whatever it is that we build. You know what I mean? So, that ain't even nothing that we want to speak on, man. We'll just pray for the brother to get up out of that, man. You know what I mean? Because dude is too solid to be, you know what I mean, going through any changes, you know what I mean? And I say that without knowing him, you know what I mean? Just the way that you watch him move, or the way that the shit that you hear about him, man. I mean, dude is a solid young brother. Dig that, you know what I mean? So he get my motherfucking props. You understand me? I like solid brothers. You know what I mean? Because with this solid shit, man. You know what I mean? Damn, baby, let me erase the comment myself. I don't know how. Let me. You ain't erased the joint fast enough, baby. What's happening, baby? But no, it probably could, you know what I mean, change some lives or save some lives to speak on that. But man, we don't want to speak on what another black man is going through, man, because with it being the internet, if you ask me that in person, that's different. But when it being the internet, they twist that shit up and use it against somebody that got a case, man. Fuck all that. You know what I mean? We got to be smarter than that. You know what I mean? That's a example of what I'm saying. You can't trust the social media, Jack. You know what I mean? At all. You can't trust these strangers, nigga, because they remix this video and remix it, nigga. You know what I mean? Yeah, so fuck all that, man. You know what I mean? We don't talk about nothing that's serious, man, on this live. You know what I mean? Even though I'm giving y'all some serious game on the live, but that's where we want that shit to stop. In the end, we meet up in person and we do the real building. You know what I mean? The real building is done offline. Let me say that too. You know what I mean? For the brothers, you know what I mean? The real building is done offline, not online, around the squares, man. You know what I mean? Because, we just don't know. We don't want them knowing every move. You know what I mean? We don't want them around us for everything that we do. Hell no. We got to keep it moving. All right, man. I gotta go on and go, man. I got shit I gotta do, man. My bros are starting to come out the door and everything. So, anyway, man, y'all stay safe, man. You know what I mean? Seize the day. You know what I mean? Strap on to that money management thing, and also outwork everybody. That's part of that killer instinct, man. That's part of being cold. You know what I mean? One of my favorite subjects, man, is that killer instinct, man. You gotta outwork everybody, man. Okay, and don't go for no excuses. Don't give nobody no excuses. So if you don't give your bras no excuses, that means you ain't got to accept none either. But if you giving them excuses, I can't do this for the kids right now, then nigga, you should be open to accepting their excuses, nigga, because the way that y'all move, y'all got an excuse having a household, right? If you don't want to have no excuses, if you don't want to accept no excuses from bra, then don't give none. I mean, keep your game raw, man. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I say I'm gonna do for my kids, I gotta do it. Everything I say I'm gonna do for my bros, I gotta do it. You know what I mean? Everything I say I'm gonna do for myself, I gotta do it. Like that's it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, when you try to keep your word in everything in life, you realize life get a little harder. but it's worth it. You know what I mean? Because the bros respect you at that point. At that point, they like, damn, you know, dude is handling his business. You know what I mean? He ain't fucking around, you know. All right, man, y'all stay safe. The brother that keep buying the shots on the on that old Cash App, bro, I'll never get that money, man. So get your money back, man. Cancel that, you know what I mean? And contact me, man. I got a whole different Cash App. My Cash Apps is always in my bras names because the squares on the internet, they hack my joints, man. You know what I mean? You know, and then we beat them up, and then they kick me off YouTube and shit again. So, you know, we just trying to avoid that whole process, man. Once you live through something, man, you don't want to, you know, get caught up and go through it again. All right. So y'all keep y'all game tight, man. And to keep y'all game tight, that means y'all got to stay away from the squares, the haters, and the suckers, man. The busters and the snitches and the punk motherfucking bitches. All right, man. Y'all stay safe. Peace and love, baby. 100. Hey, join us on that Skool app or that Patreon joint, man. Or join us on both because I drop different game on each one. Just like I drop different game on each of my Instagram pages. I drop different game on the Skool app. The Skool app, I'm on that bitch all day. The Patreon, I get on there, you know what I mean? You know, once, twice a day. But I drop audios on that Patreon joint. I don't really drop audios on the Skool app. The Skool app is my Pimp Genius, and I drop courses on there. So if you comment and like shit enough, it open up this $10,000 course or this $1,000 course or whatever it is. All right, man. Peace and love, baby. 100.